In today's video, I will be talking about one thing I love about every Fortnite season. As we all know, the Fortnite community can be a little toxic, so I decided I wanted to spread some positivity even when it comes to the primal season. Now, of course, this is just my opinion, and there's so much to love about each Fortnite season, so be sure to let me know your opinion down in the comments. If you enjoy my videos, be sure to use code TuneSpider in the Fortnite item shop to support me, and now let's get started. Okay, so I'm going to start with Chapter 1 Season 1, and something I really love about this season was the sound of the gold scar. Now I know that is very specific, but I played shooter games pretty much my entire life, and this was probably the most satisfying gun sound I've ever heard in a video game. And for those of you that are not familiar with the sound, here it is. Not only was it super rare to get, but it was amazing to use because of the damage and the sound. Honestly, it was a sound that you could probably listen to all the time. Next up is Chapter 1 Season 2, and for this season, it was the introduction to Fortnite's Battle Pass system. One of my favorite things in Fortnite still to this day is the Battle Pass. I get excited for every Battle Pass. Having some coffee in the morning and recording my reaction as I look through all the skins and cosmetics is something I love to do every season. And honestly, for me, it adds to the hype for a new Fortnite season. I'm someone that will probably never get tired of a new Fortnite Battle Pass. Moving on to Chapter 1 Season 3, this is actually going to be a specific weapon, and it's the hand cannon. I mean, honestly, what was there to not like about the hand cannon? It was a very satisfying weapon to use. You could use it at any range. It sounded cool, it looked cool, and it did insane damage back then, so I think overall it was just a great weapon, and it was definitely something I loved about that season. But next up is Chapter 1 Season 4, and this is actually going to be the Hop Rock. This was actually a hard season to decide between because there were so many great things in Chapter 1 Season 4, but the Hop Rocks were a fun and unique gameplay mechanic that was part of the environment on the map. I never experienced something like that before in a video game. It was nice for mobility, especially since we didn't have a lot of that back in the early days of Fortnite, and like I mentioned, it was just a unique gameplay mechanic. Moving on to Chapter 1 Season 5, and for one thing I loved about that season was the desert biome. Still to this day, my favorite desert we've ever had in Fortnite. Dropping into Paradise hit different, dropping into the desert in general hit different back then, and it was very exciting to explore a whole new biome because that was the first major biome that we got on the Chapter 1 map. Next up is Chapter 1 Season 6, and for this it was the Calamity glitch. Nah, I'm just kidding. It was actually the Halloween theme. I honestly love that a full season was built around the vibes of Halloween, especially since Halloween of course happened during that season. That is something I'm definitely looking forward to when OG Season 6 comes around. I think it just added to the theme of the season. It just increased the vibes of the season, especially when we got to Fortnitemares. Next up is Chapter 1 Season 7, my favorite season of all time, and a big reason for that is the winter theme. Now I know I'm doing back-to-back themes here, but going from Halloween to the winter Christmas theme was so much fun. Dropping into the new map with a huge snow biome was such a fun feeling, especially because we were in the middle of winter season in real life. Checking out places like Polar Peak, Happy Hamlet, the vibes were just a 10 out of 10, and I still appreciate that theme so much. Moving on to Chapter 1 Season 8 is the pirate cannons. I mean, they were so fun to shoot out of, and I think the glitch was hilarious. Yeah, it was annoying when it happened to you, but whenever you saw a clip of someone just going flying sideways because of the pirate cannon glitch, it was honestly hilarious, and it was a gameplay mechanic that matched the theme of that season. Now for Chapter 1 Season 9, I have the final showdown as the one thing I love about that season. I mean, to this day, I think it's one of the coolest events we've ever had. I was not expecting the fight to be that crazy. It actually went on for quite a bit, which was really cool. And the sword being the singularity statue was a fun twist. And the slow-mo stab is honestly ingrained in my brain. It's honestly something I'll never forget when I think about Fortnite. Then next up is Chapter 1 Season X, and I gotta go with the mechs. Nah, I'm just kidding. It's the Battle Pass. Still one of the best Battle Passes to this day in my opinion. Pretty much every skin was an upgrade from the original, or at least just as good as the original skin. There were skins like X-Lord, Catalyst, Ultima Knight, and I think the remix of some OG skins was just really cool. Great way to cap off Chapter 1. Moving on to Chapter 2 Season 1, this was exploring a new island. So I know this is kind of vague, but there was something just really fun about jumping into a new map. With modern Fortnite, we experience it pretty much every year, but back then you gotta remember we were on the Chapter 1 map for a couple years, so this was very fresh and exciting. So checking out new POIs was fun. Being able to swim was really cool. We didn't have that mechanic yet. Being able to explore the Chapter 2 island was one thing I really loved about that season. Moving on to chapter 2 season 2, a lot of people's favorite season. There was a lot of good things to try to pick from when it came to like what I loved about this season, and I'm gonna go with the boss mythics. It's a staple in Fortnite now. It started back then, and the mythics we got then were really cool, like Sky's grappler and assault rifle, Midas's drum gun, Brutus's minigun. Yeah, they were absolutely broken, but they were so much fun to use if you got them, and they were difficult to get as well, which made it feel a little rewarding. But moving on to chapter 2 season 3 and sticking with a mythic, I have Kit's shockwave launcher. I still think it's a top 5 mobility item. As you can tell with this season, it is crazy to have. It definitely feels like you need one since it's in the loot pool. You can travel so far with a shockwave launcher, and you can also get some really cool clips with it as well. Back then it was really fun to pair it with Kit's charged shotgun. Still one of my favorite mobility items to this day. Next is chapter 2 season 4, and this was the first Marvel season. In general, I loved this season, but Stark Industries arriving just hit different. It was like the coolest way for a POI to enter a game during the season, where it basically had its own little island, and it was so much fun to drop at, so chaotic. The Stark chests were really cool, like seeing all the Iron Man suits. You could get the Stark cars from there. So much was always happening at that POI. Next up is chapter 2 season 5, and I have sand tunneling mechanic as one thing I love from this season. It was very unique. I don't think I ever experienced anything like that in a video game before. It was a lot of fun to do. Sometimes it was bugged and you would get stuck in there, which was frustrating, but overall I had a lot of fun with that mechanic. Next is chapter 2 season 6, and one thing I love about that season was absolutely nothing. Nah, I'm kidding. It was the Zero Crisis finale. It was a really cool way to start a season and was refreshing from the events we experienced before because it happened at the very beginning of the season rather than at the end. The voice lines, the dialogue between Foundation and Jones was cool. It was pretty epic, no pun intended. Overall, it was a good experience. Next is chapter 2 season 7. This had some of the like wackiest and most fun items. The loot pool was cool. I love the immersion of the mothership above us, but honestly, when it comes to one thing I love about the season was the railgun. Such a fun weapon to use. I love the charge up of it. I love the sound of it. The damage is great, and I like that it was unique. Moving on to chapter 2 season 8, I'm going with the end event for chapter 2. The build up to this was insane. The Cube Queen part of it was awesome, and then watching the flip of the island, which brought us to our chapter 3 map, that was all just really cool. Overall, it was just a great experience to have. There was a lot of cool things that happened in that event. Now we're moving on to chapter 3 season 1, and it's gotta be Spider-Man. I mean, he's my all-time favorite superhero, just fictional character in general. This character means everything to me, and the fact that we got not only a red and blue suit, we also got a symbiote and future Foundation skins. We got the Daily Bugle. We got the web shooters as a mythic, which is still my favorite mythic of all time. I couldn't believe that my favorite character was in the game, and it was definitely the thing I loved most about that season. Next up is chapter 3 season 2, and it's got to be Zero Build being introduced. This was a big game changer for the game. It honestly brought a lot of my friends back, and I know it brought a lot of streamers back as well, and it's pretty much the way I've played Fortnite since then. I really used to love builds, and I grinded builds all the time. Grinded piece control courses, all of that. But there was just something about Zero Build that I really liked. I liked the strategy of it. I like that aiming matters the most, and you got to think of your positioning, and since it's arrived, I've been hooked. Next up is chapter 3 season 3, and this one was kind of difficult to think of, but I went with the reality tree. I just thought it was beautiful. I liked that location. It was fun to drop there. The aesthetic of it was amazing. Definitely one of the most beautiful POIs we've ever had in this game. Moving on to chapter 3 season 4, I have the Evil Chrome burst rifle. Now I know some people didn't like this weapon, but A, I thought it looked really cool. B, I thought it was a good burst rifle to use, and C, I love the mechanic that the more damage you did, that the gun could evolve to the next rarity. So for example, you could go from a green to a blue, or a blue to a purple. I really like that, and I think it encouraged people to get in more fight, which I think is really good for the game. We could definitely use it now with the amount of people that drive away in solos, and I think it was a fun, unique weapon. But moving on to chapter 4 season 1, I mean, this introduced a lot. I really like the map, the graphics, but I went with the reality augments, and I know there's kind of a love-hate with these, but when they were first introduced in chapter 4 season 1, they were awesome. We hadn't had something like this in Fortnite before. I think it was a great game mechanic. I would love to see something like this return in the future, but they got to make sure the augments are good, and they continue to make them feel fresh and rotate them often. But that was one thing I definitely loved for the season, and honestly for the whole chapter. Moving on to chapter 4 season 2, I put the kinetic blade. I love the mobility of it. I like the charge up of it. It fit that season pretty well, and I don't know why, but I just like seeing it attached to the hip on my skin. I always thought that was pretty cool. Moving on to Chapter 4, Season 3, I mean, it's got to be the Mammoth Pistol. This is one of the best pistols we've ever had in the game. It is very satisfying to use. The damage it does is insane. I even like the little reload animation. I do look for those things, I'm not gonna lie. Those can make me like something just that much more. Next up is Chapter 4, Season 4, one of the most underrated seasons in my opinion, and there was a lot that I liked about this season. And something I really loved about it was the vaults in Chapter 4, Season 4. They were very different from anything we experienced before, and I love the mechanic of getting the mythics. So you had to break open the glass cases and grab one of the mythics. I thought that was so much fun. It honestly made the game just a little more exciting, and I like when they mix up how we get mythics. Next is Chapter 4, Season OG, and it's the nostalgia. Just going back to the Chapter 1 map, using the Chapter 1 items, that was such a fun month. And like I said, the nostalgia feeling was just next level. Next up is Chapter 5, Season 1, and this is a season I really liked. I thought about putting the grapple blade because I still think that's one of the coolest mobility items, but I actually decided to put Peter Griffin grabbing his knee after you knocked him to get his mythic and medallion. I'm pretty sure we all know the scene from the show, so for them to put that in Fortnite made me laugh so hard the first time I saw it. Like I said, there was a lot to like about that season in my opinion, but that was just one thing I really loved. Moving on to Chapter 5, Season 2, I'm going to be going with the Gatekeeper shotgun. This shotgun was interesting because it had 3 shots, it shot really fast, it had a quick reload. Not gonna lie, it looked really cool. It was just very satisfying to use. Moving on to Chapter 5, Season 3, the one thing I loved was when it ended. Nah, I'm just kidding. It was the Nitro Splash. It was so much fun running around on Nitro. Now, of course, I'm mainly talking from a zero build perspective. I'm sure it was super annoying in builds, but for zero builds, it was a lot of fun. Moving on to Chapter 5, Season 4, our second Marvel season. It doesn't get as much love as Chapter 2, Season 4, but I did like it, and there was a lot to like about that season. But for me, it's got to be Fortnitemares. I think that's one of the best Fortnitemares we've ever had. It might actually be the best. Freaky Fields, the fog, the chainsaw item, Billy's little puppet bombs, I don't remember what they're called to be honest, and the cosmetics we got during Fortnitemares. It was honestly the best part of that season. Moving on to Chapter 2 Remix. Now, I'm not someone that actually hated this remix season. I thought Eminem's minigun was really cool, and same with Snoop Dogg's drum gun. I liked the twist on the POIs, but I think the tribute to Juice WRLD in the event, I think that was just a beautiful tribute. It honestly made my eyes water a little bit, not gonna lie. That was just a beautiful moment in the game. Now we're moving on to Chapter 6, Season 1. Of course, it's got to be the Night Rose, aka Demon Mommy. But in all seriousness, it's the Typhoon Blade. I know there's probably a good amount of people that hate it. I know this is probably a hot take, but I've always wanted a katana in the game, and it was pretty much exactly how I wanted it to be. Next up is Chapter 6, Season 2, and there was a lot I liked about this as well. The bank robbing aspect, robbing the armored truck, the lawless exotics. Honestly, the trailer. That is still probably the best trailer in my opinion, or at least like top 3. Even though I'm not the biggest Big Deal fan, him rapping with kind of like an 80s or 90s flow was really cool. And the fact that the trailer was like also kind of a music video was a lot of fun. Moving on to the Galactic Battle Season. Now, I'm sure a lot of people want to say, well, there was nothing to love about it, but I do disagree. And this will probably be an unpopular opinion, but I think committing to blasters only. It was a risk and it didn't really pay off for them, but I like that they committed to us only having blasters, and there was a lot of really good ones, I'm not gonna lie. Moving on to Chapter 6, Season 3, it's got to be the Kill Switch revolvers. The slow-mo while using them is just so cool. I was honestly obsessed with those revolvers, and I hope they return someday. And now finally we're on our current season, Chapter 6, Season 4, and I gotta go with the Wrecker revolver. It's insane to use, it's very versatile, it does good damage, you can use it from a decent range, and I like that you can swap to like a different shotgun quickly. Another thing I love about this season I want to throw in there really quick is it actually feels like an invasion, or I guess you could say like the island's infested because it's bugs. As much as I like Chapter 2, Season 7, I think the one part where it kind of failed was the invasion feeling, and I think the Shock and Awesome season is actually capturing that with the bugs, and it sounds like they'll start covering more of the island as well as the season goes on. But there you have it. That is one thing I love about every Fortnite season that we've had. If you enjoyed my video, make sure you drop a like and subscribe to the channel. If you'd like to join my Discord server, that link is going to be in the description, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. Peace.